Hey there, and welcome to another edition of Tour Confidential. I'm Ryan Aselta, happy to be joined this week by former ESPN and SI golf writer Pharrell Evans, and joining us via Skype from the West Coast, Golf.com's Josh Sens. And guys, Masters Week is finally here, and Ian Poulter punches the final ticket and invitation to Augusta with a dramatic playoff win at the Houston Open over Bo Hostler. But the name kind of getting attention on Sunday, guys, was Jordan Spieth. Pharrell, this is a guy who has won the Masters. He's tragically lost the Masters and performed very well at Augusta over his career. He now heads to Augusta, though, coming off a third-place finish with a surge on Sunday, a 66. This is a Spieth who has not been playing good golf of late. He's questioned his confidence. Did he show us enough over the weekend to put him into the contender category this week going into Augusta?
Well, I think he was a little overblown. I mean, his ball striking has been solid for several weeks. It's been his putting. And we saw yesterday, I mean, that the long putt he made to say par there at 18. I mean, he's solid. I think he's a big-time player, and he'll make big-time plays, and he'll be right there on Sunday at Augusta.
What do you think, Josh? This is a guy who missed the cut at the Valspar. He didn't make it very far in the match play. Talked about questioning himself, questioning his confidence. There seemed to be a lot going on upstairs with Jordan Spieth, and then all of a sudden, he closes with this 66 in Houston. As Pharrell said, he rolled in a long one on the 72nd hole. Quite the way to go into Augusta. Are you starting to believe again in Jordan Spieth?
Well, you know, as Pharrell said, so much of it is about the putting for Spieth, and we see players at this level, a switch can flip suddenly, and they have it, like Rory did at Bay Hill. You know, he just ran away from the field, and a lot of that had to do with his putting. So Spieth, it's all about putting. He's not a guy like a lot of the big contenders at Augusta who can just pound the course into submission. He has to be hitting those 10 to 15 footers. That's his game. That's where he makes his money. And the past stretch of months has not been good for him. And we just know how random putting is, how fickle putting is, and how much confidence plays a part. So, yeah, if that switch really has flipped, Spieth can contend, but a lot has to go right for him with the depth of this field and how many guys are playing well coming into the tournament.
Pharrell, from what you've seen from a putting perspective, is it technical? Is it mental? I mean, this is a guy who traditionally is known as one of the best putters on tour, yet this season he's outside the top 180 in strokes gained putting. Spieth usually lives inside the top 10 of that category. What's been going on there?
I think it's all mental. I mean, these guys have the best technology. Spieth's ball still rolls very perfectly off the putter face. It's mental. He's been missing those 5 to 8 footers that tour players who win big tournaments always make. And we've gotten accustomed to Jordan making everything. And I think he's had this little spurt, and he's you know, and he's there's so much attention placed on him. But I think it's more of a mental thing with Spieth than anything.
Josh, it's tough to bet against Spieth at a place like Augusta. I mean, he has 2 second-place finishes, a win. His worst finish there is 11th. That was a year ago. He seems to be the perfect fit for Augusta National, really regardless of what's been going on, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it's interesting the way he's sort of the forgotten man coming into this tournament, at least until this putt he drained yesterday in Houston. I mean, with Tiger's resurgence, Phil winning this week, Rory coming back. I mean, the list of guys goes on and on. So Spieth really is coming in to a certain extent, to the extent that a Masters champion, a past champ, can be a sleeper. He's a little bit of a sleeper. You know, Justin Thomas, his good buddy, also. All these names have sort of surpassed him in the buzz. So maybe this is when he sneaks back in, but. You know, it's going to be a tough road. He has to putt absolutely perfectly, and we all know how that can go one way or the other. It's just a matter of tiny, tiny margins.
Tough to consider Spieth a sleeper in the Masters. You're right about that. Hey, you're going to be spending some time out in Vegas. The odds have been out for a while now. Tiger is sitting at the top, the odds-on favorite to win the Masters. You see guys like Bubba surging in the odds to win. Phil, Justin, Thomas, Rory with his win, as you mentioned, is back up there. Let's talk dark horse, though. Not even just sleeper, but a little outside those guys that we talked about. Who's a dark horse you like to win the Masters this week, Josh?
Oh, I'm going to go with Patrick Reed. I mean, Spieth's former often Ryder Cup partner and nemesis in recent months, at least on social media and in interviews. I would say Spieth. I mean, Reed. You know, we keep waiting for him to show that kind of swagger that he shows in match play in a big time venue, and he's been playing well. His confidence has been up. He's been right there in a lot of events. So, I like him. He's got a bit of a volatile game, but he's certainly got the confidence. We know that, and the putting stroke to win at Augusta.
Played at Augusta State. You'd think he'd fare well, though. I believe he's missed two cuts in 4 appearances at Augusta so far, so certainly a dark horse. How about Pharrell? Who are you keeping an eye on, someone we might not have, as we mentioned, at that top tier of guys at the odds level?
It's a no-brainer. Paul Casey. He's had a 4th and 2 6th-place finishes in his last 3 Masters. He won at Valspar a few weeks ago. He posted a score. I think we're going to see something very similar at the Masters, where Paul Casey's going to be in those last 3 or 4 groups. He's going to post a score, and guys, those leaders are going to have to match him. But I can see Paul Casey, big-time player, a lot of experience, and he'll be right there.
Yeah, I love Casey a lot. He was my value pick as well this week. As far as a dark horse, guys, I like Brian Harman. You know this course suits lefties very well. We've seen it obviously with Phil Mickelson, Bubba Watson, Mike Weir has won. So Harman, the lefty, and what does he do that we've been talking about all morning, guys? He putts the rock. He's top 10 in strokes gained putting. You remember that hot streak? End of 2017 into the new year out in Hawaii. No one was really playing better golf than Brian Harman. I think he's the perfect fit to win at Augusta, and a guy who's way down on those odds. Josh, I may be calling you to get the odds on Brian Harman while you're out in Vegas this week. Deal?
You could get some good money on him. I'm happy to place one down for you.
All right, thanks, guys, and thanks for joining us on this Masters Week edition of Tour Confidential. For Pharrell and Josh, I'm Ryan Aselta. We'll see you next week right here on Golf.com.